What's up, guys? Welcome back to Classic Octane. I am Taylor. Today we are on the Barn to Brat project. We're getting really close to the end of this build. So one of the last kind of bigger fabrication things I want to try and figure out is going to be that rear fender. So we're going to start on that and then see where we get. So in typical motorcycle hoarder fashion, I have four rear fenders to choose from. Technically more, but these are just four CB550 rear fenders to choose from. I believe this one actually might be from my old 750. It's a little bit different design, or it might just be from a different year, but these three are identical. So I'm gonna kind of look through these and see which one I want to start with. I'd kind of like to start with one that's a little bit more rough, just in case in the future I do like a stock restoration or something. I don't want to cut up a good condition one, you know what I mean? So I'm going to look for one with like a little bit of dents in it. Honestly, the one that's kind of looks the cleanest actually has some kind of dents where these seem to all be in pretty good shape. So there's a good possibility I'm going to start with this one. So most of the time I've built these Brat style bikes, I don't put rear fenders on them just to kind of keep it nice and clean. But since this one is going to be more of a, who knows, scrambler, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily have a style. I'm going to have the knobby tires on here, so I do plan on, hopefully doing some light off-road, or at least have the look of a bike that's to go off-road. So I think a rear fender is going to make a pretty good addition to this bike. What I'm kind of thinking is I don't want it to stick super far out of the back here. I probably am going to mount my tail light right off the center. And then obviously I don't want a bunch hanging down on here either. So we'll probably end up trimming it somewhere around this section. Totally get rid of all this underneath. I might keep this center just to kind of, the idea is to kind of help us prevent not help us prevent, but help prevent throwing rocks and dirt and crap into the battery box. If you remember, there's like little air passages on the back here, and I don't want the tire to be spinning and chucking stuff up into the battery box. So I want to keep a little bit of what the intended purpose of a rear fender is, but not go too crazy to where we take away from the overall design. So I think I am going to start with this fender. I'm just going to start chopping off the stuff we know we don't want. And then we can go from there. So the more I mess with this fender, the less I like it. But there's a couple of issues I'm running into. One of them is I have to have clearance for the wing nuts for underneath the seat mount here. If you remember, there's like a threaded rod that comes down through that mounts the seat to a flat bar. There's two of them. There's one right here and there's another one right here. I need all four of those to get the seat nice and secure and make sure it's kind of centered properly. And then the reason I need to remove those is because I have no way to access the electronics without that. And I don't want to be out on the road somewhere and have a fuse blow or something happen that I need to actually get into the electronic box and I don't have access without tools. If that makes sense. So I like to be able to put wing nuts on there and be able to pull the seat off anytime I want. The issue that's bringing up, like I was saying, is the fender blocks those wing nuts unless I had it all the way back here, and then that looks terrible because there's a big gap, but that's the kind of the gap I need. I can't run holes through the fender because they would be right on the outside of this ridge, which means the wing nut couldn't actually spin on there. So I'm really struggling with what I want to do here. I could cut it and have it be really small in the back. That totally defeats the whole purpose of having a Fender from like a practicality standpoint, but it could kind of give us the look we were after. I actually have a little, somewhat of an example of that I was going to use for a different bike. Kind of something like that. But to be honest, I don't think that looks very good. I'm really struggling here. I don't know that I want to move forward with this design, so I think I'm going to leave the Fender here, and you guys let me know what you think would look good. Would a kind of a chopped Fender but a little bit wider looked okay? Would no Fender? I mean, honestly, I lean towards no Fender just because the bikes I've built in the past pretty much have this look. They you know, are kind of Fenderless and clean, and I don't want to keep building the same bike over and over again, but I actually do really like the way it looks kind of in its current state. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping you guys can give me a little guidance on what you think overall would look good for a rear fender setup. So while we're on the subject of talking about things I'm unsure about, I can't decide if I like the knobbies or not. I really want to build a bike with knobby tires, but the more that I put like the nice shiny exhaust and like the chrome is in good shape and I'm going to clean up the wheels, the more like I just don't know if knobbies are going to look out of place on this bike. And it's kind of a hard thing to picture. I know that this is probably not going to do a darn thing to helping us picture what they would look like, but they're really aggressive. So I don't know, I feel like they might look out of place on the bike. That's honestly why I haven't gotten them mounted up yet either, is because I'm like, the more I get this bike together, the more I kind of fall in love with the way it looks right now. And I have another bike, spoiler alert, I won't tell you what bike it is, but I do have another bike on the side of my house that would look really good with those knobbies on it. So I might save the knobbies for that build and like I would still replace these tires with something a little bit fatter, but maybe just like a nice kind of fat street tire, something somewhat similar to the bikes we've built in the past. So I want to open it up for you guys to let me know what you think about the tires as well. What I want to avoid is, and I know I'm rambling a little bit, but I want to avoid building the exact same bike I've always built, but I also want to avoid, you know, doing something out of the ordinary and have the bike not look good just because I'm trying to be different than what I've done before. So I don't want to ruin a bike just because I'm trying to do something different. But, you know, I want you guys to have a variety of content here and see what kind of different bikes would look like. So again, that's a very long-winded explanation of, let me know what you guys think about the rear fender and the tires. While we're on the subject of wheels and tires, I want to clean up these rims. You can see they have like a little bit of surface rust on them, and they're clean. I've washed them. They just are a little oxidized, and I want to show you guys a trick I picked up on how to clean these up for super cheap and very easy. And what that is quadruple zero steel wool. You can buy this from literally anywhere, and what it is just a really fine grained steel wool that won't scratch chrome, but it does a great job at cleaning it up. So just like look at this little section right here, and within, what is that, 5 or 6 seconds you can see the difference. So you know, I've already done a little bit over here to kind of give it a little test run. So it's crazy what just, like I said, that much of action with quadruple zero. So if you get much, like the lower the amount of zeros, it gets more and more coarse. So just make sure to super fine quadruple 0, and then you literally can't scratch the chrome. You can even use this stuff on glass. That's how fine it is. So I'm going to go ahead and hit all of these wheels up, go all the way around, and we can kind of see a before and after. So let me give you some close-up shots of what we're working with. And I'll bring you guys back here in a second. Well, there you go. About 10 minutes with 2 pieces of steel wool, and we're looking pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. And you can use that steel wool on anything that's chrome. So I mean, you can clean up just about everything on this bike. I've kind of hit with a little bit of the steel wool just to brighten it up, make it look pretty good. Hit the rear shocks as well. So looking good. So I know we're kind of jumping around all over the place in this video, but what I want to do now is I want to swap these grips out. If you remember, Tough Side sent me some matching grips that go to the seat we're running on here. So exact same leather, exact same stitching color. So we're going to go ahead and throw those on. I also wanted to take apart this lighting switch because our little headlight on and off, the little black piece broke off. I have a spare one of these switches, and instead of trying to kind of swap the whole entire switch over, which is a pain because the wiring runs through the handlebars and everything, I'm just going to see if I can swap out this little switch cover, little black piece, or probably the whole metal piece, because I think it's kind of all glued on together. Got the grips installed. Little trick to getting them on. I like to spray them with glass cleaner. Just some like invisible glass like this. Just kind of gives it a little bit of lubrication, but it doesn't leave a residue and it evaporates pretty quickly. So it's not like spraying WD-40 or something in there that's going to stick around for a while. And then you can use an air gun at the end to kind of help pump it up a little bit, just to, you know, help you kind of glide it on there. They're designed to be slip fit and stay on, so they should be a little bit difficult to get on, but once you get them on, no problem. So I think those look pretty darn good. Never had brown grips, or at least matching brown grips before, so that's pretty cool. I like it. So here's the little switch I was talking about. You can see the little black piece is missing. Here is a spare one I have where the piece is on there and in good shape. The rest of this switch is pretty rough. So really the only piece I need out of it is that little guy right there. It looks like it's all kind of one piece in there, this little metal thing, and it just has a little Phillips screw right down here. So my goal is take the 2 Phillips off of this, pull the cap up, have it match this one identically, and be able to just swap those 2 things. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah. Perfect match. So I'm going to clean this one up on the wire wheel a little bit because it's got a little bit of rust on it. We'll swap it over and then we'll have a nice functioning headlight switch. All swapped over. So this is just yet another reason why you should never throw anything away or sell anything, and you should just hoard all of the motorcycle parts. No, I'm kidding, but this one, like, I could have very easily thrown it away because it's got like terribly soldered and electrical tape joints. I mean, look at that bad boy. Somebody just went ham with the solder in here, and like it's not worth salvaging the switch itself. But I mean, there's a tiny little part that was good on this, and who knows, one day I might need a you know, a little switch or part of the mechanism or this little hold down or something. And it's not a big deal to store this kind of stuff. So that's why I do it. You know, this may be a hoarder trying to justify my hoard, my stash, but you know, I'm always happy. It gives me a lot of good feelings when I can actually go and pull out a part and fix something without having to go out and buy something. So, all right, guys, sorry if we didn't get a whole heck of a lot done or didn't feel like we did. It did make some good progress, but we kind of ran into a couple of crossroads that I'm looking for some advice on, like I said. So let me know what you guys thought about that rear fender. Let me know what you think about the knobby tires. Should we stick with the knobbies and just keep going on the original theme? Should we just put a little bit meatier street tires on there like I've had on my last bikes and have like kind of a street tracker, good, you know, all around street bike? I don't know, I'm still on the fence. Like I said, I do have another bike that you guys don't know about yet. Another little hint is it's not a Honda, which will excite some of you guys because I am a hoarder of classic Hondas. But anyway, it's a new bike I just picked up in an estate sale a couple of weeks ago. I'm really excited to get to work on it. And what I'm thinking about going the direction of that bike, the knobbies would fit perfectly. So I won't be wasting the knobbies. They'll just be going to a different project. But again, let me know what you think. In the next video, I am going to, let's see, I've already sealed and finished the gas tank. I need to put some longer fuel lines on the carbs to get to the petcock. The ones I replaced, I didn't make them long enough. And then I need to put on the electronic ignition. So in the next video, we're going to put on the electronic ignition, run the bike, and I'm going to take it around the block, fingers crossed. So thanks for watching this video, guys. Make sure to subscribe. Check out my Instagram for some behind the scenes. I did a little Q&A on there the other day, so make sure to check that out, and I'll see you guys soon.